Oh, hello there. Yes, well, we are safely ensconced in Friday. Anyway, it's been a very good news week. I'm sure all of you out there will be very, very pleased to hear that various stock markets around the world are booming, particularly in the States, with the news that, well, stock markets will be booming because of a forthcoming new president, President Trump. Yes, when stock markets did indeed boom. Yes. So the good news is that, yes, Elon Musk, who was very, very in favour of Donald Trump, is, what is it, $26 billion richer just overnight, which strikes me as a very, very good investment. So good news all round if you're a billionaire or a member of the 0.1%. However, I'm sure some of you might see some slight drawbacks to that, or not, as the case may be, of course, because one of the things about Donald Trump's being elected, of course, is that people that essentially don't like brown people will be very pleased about it. And that's fine, you're allowed to do that. If, however, you voted for Donald Trump or you supported Donald Trump with the idea that he'll improve your lot, it's very debatable. And in fact, he probably won't, because he didn't last time, because that's the way the system works under a present form of capitalism, which has taken hold across the world in the last 50 years, essentially my lifetime, pretty much most of it. People like me get poorer, people like you get poorer. It's just that we get kidded that we're not going to be poorer. You might recall other sort of great ideas that various rich people had for us. I'm going to point you towards Brexit. Do you remember how much richer that was going to make all of us? Didn't quite pan out that way, did it? Because of now, was that the junior doctors or was that the blob? I get slightly confused, but it was probably the brown people, wasn't it? Yeah, let's blame the brown people because it's bound to be their fault, because we then might then be able to do something about it. Yes. But of course, the problem with all autocratic regimes in capitalism is that they make ordinary people poorer. I can't think of a single autocratic regime, and I'm using that word in its widest possible sense, that makes people generically better off. Answers on a postcard, kids. Yeah, it's one of the things that happens. You look at wages under Mussolini, you look at wages under Franco, you look at wages under most South American dictatorships. They don't go up. Most wages, even under left-wing but still capitalist countries, don't go up either, because basically the people at the top get very, very used to the idea that if they do certain things, well, they might well be $26 billion better off overnight. And they will then persuade you that the reason why you're not better off is, well, probably because of those junior doctors or the blob or the brown people. Yes, preferably the brown people, because then, obviously, we can just do nothing about it. And there will be nothing done about it. And by that, what I mean, of course, is that nothing will actually change, because the beauty of blaming brown people and wanting to get rid of them is it's a bottomless pit. You can't get rid of all of them, logically, because that really would be very, very messy and problematic. It just isn't a mass grave big enough. So you only get rid of some of them, and then you carry on blaming the ones that are left, don't you? Yeah, or maybe move on to someone else. After all, we have a very hostile anti-trans environment. It'll very rapidly move on to being very, very hostile to gay people generically, and of course the next breath will be women. Wonder how J.K. Rowling will react to that, and probably she'll still be very, very concerned about Rape Crisis Centre somewhere in Scotland. Oh, yes. Anyway, the odd thing, which I'm going to play devil's advocate with, is if you look at actual historical so-called communist regimes, they actually did tend to make people better off. If somebody can explain to me how the average worker in under 70 years of communist rule in Russia was worse off, I'd be interested to hear. Yes, I know they didn't have freedom, but there again, how much freedom do we have, realistically? How much freedom do people have in America, realistically? And if you look at what happened in the Soviet Union in terms of moving from a peasant economy to basically launching Sputnik and having atomic weapons, etc., one might argue, in the same way that so many people do here, of course, that was a price well worth paying, People out there had guaranteed healthcare. They had guaranteed education, things that the average American simply doesn't have and simply won't have, increasingly, because after all, Elon Musk will be directing all of that stuff into rockets, won't he? Yes, Rockets before butter, one might say. Yes, anyway, I do like being sort of devil's advocate with that, but it always astounds me that people are quite happy with children up chimneys if it's the 1840s, but they're very, very unhappy with Tankograd. I don't really know why. Anyway, we can expect the wealthy to do extremely well in the very near future. And of course, that is going to be great because that means that presumably all those people that don't like brown people will be happy with that as well. And you're welcome to it. But I'm just going to suggest that there might be a disconnect between those two concepts, which you might want to think about. Oh, yes. Anyway, on that particular bombshell, have a lovely, lovely Friday. It's been well earned this week. It's been a long, slow one. Yes. Try spending 6 hours a day teaching GCSEs to autistic young people, and you might well get to feel a bit tired too. Do have a lovely one. Do enjoy if you can, and of course, as ever, whilst you can. Oh, yeah.